everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Well, today is a very special occasion. First, I'm back in a baseball hat, which just feels so much more normal and like me to just not worry about makeup and put a baseball cap on. But what I'm really excited about is today we're going to be starting Snapdragons. I don't have any seeds started indoors as of yet. It's the second week in February, but it is time to start my Snapdragons. So I wanted to just take you along for the process, show you also how I store my seeds, how I sort them. It's very, very basic, but it does work great. I'll show you a little bit of my calendar. And yeah, hopefully it's just a great time together, and it's just so wonderful to get our hands back in the dirt. So let's head inside. You guys like my storm door? We were supposed to get a new storm door around Christmas, but they keep putting it off, but oh well. Here's that forsythia that we cut in a vlog I did, I think last week. So the snaps I'm going to be sewing today are group 1 and 2. The first one, and also this tray with you, it's called Bridal Pink. That is a group 2 Snapdragon. And then Legend Light Pink, which I saw the pictures of this on Johnny's and I thought it was so beautiful and just so full of flowers. I've never seen so many flowers on a snap before. That's group 1, but both group 1 and group 2 Snapdragons thrive in shorter days and cooler temperatures. So before we sew the tray, let me show you how I store and sort my seeds, because it's pretty basic, but I find it really helpful, especially from an efficiency standpoint. And also if you're working on a smaller scale flower farm, it's really important to just be as efficient as possible and to really rely heavily on succession sowing. So the way I do it is that I just rubber band my seed packets based not on flower type, but based on when and how they should be sown. So the very first pack that I'm gonna pull out from my box here, all my seeds are in this box. It looks disorganized, but it's actually very organized. The first one is hardy annuals that need to be started inside. So these Snapdragons here, my yarrow, my status, my straw flower, more straw flower, scabiosa. I also have some scabiosa that I saved from last year. My monarda. So anything that's a hardy annual that I want to start inside gets banded and put into this packet. And they're also organized by how many weeks they need to live inside, starting with the longest developing flower first. So Snapdragons are going to stay inside about 8 weeks. So I'm starting them first. Then in the days to come, I'll start my feverfew, then my yarrow. So we're going kind of in chronological order based on how long they're going to live inside. But say as we get further into this rubber band, we're going to land on Chinese forget-me-not. I don't need to start Chinese forget-me-not until about 4 weeks until I want to plant them out into the garden. So that's why they fall later in this packet. I really hope that makes sense. Leave me a comment if that's confusing at all. But so that's the first rubber band of seeds. Next up is hardy annuals that are going to be direct sown into the garden. Some of these are already out there, like I already have a seeding of Bupleurum out there that I seeded in the fall. But once again, in chronological order for when I want to sow them outside, and all of these are hardy annuals that are going to be direct sown. So Bupleurum, Alyssum, Cerinthe, Verbascum, all my poppies, some other sweet peas. I'm actually going to direct sow these variety of sweet peas, more poppies, but basically this pack, hardy annuals that can be direct sown into the garden in chronological order. The next packet would be tender annuals to be started inside. So things like celosia. And once again, we're going in order based on seeds that need more time inside. So celosia needs a lot more time inside than say a Cosmo. So that comes first in the packet. That way when I know it's time to start sowing tender annuals, I just literally go in order. So celosias, gomphrena, then we're gonna come to our Cosmos and our zinnias and all of those warm loving tender annuals. I also have a packet of direct seeded tender annuals. And then I have this packet, which is all my sunflower successions. And once again, these are in order based on when I want to start them. So I'm really going by color with sunflowers. So my white and my kind of pink sunflowers first. And then of course we end up at the end of the season with the really dark ones. So I hope that makes sense and helps somebody out there. Let's sow some Snapdragons now. So first things first, I'll stick a label into this tray. This is a 48 cell tray with pre-moistened potting soil. I use Frey's Professional Grade Potting Soil. I have absolutely no affiliation with any of these companies, just genuinely what I use. And then these are bottom trays that are watertight, no holes in these trays. And I have a whole video on seed starting basics, and I will link that in the description. So let's do the bridal pinks. So Snapdragon seeds are incredibly tiny, and in order to plant them and basically get the most bang for my buck, because I paid about $5 for this small amount of seed here, I use a toothpick and a little cup of water to help me pick them up. Because if you try to pick them up with your hand, a lot of times you'll get more than one or two. So you just wet the toothpick a little bit and then just tap it onto a seed. And Snapdragons need to be surface sown, so you literally just dab it right there into the center. And then that's it. Then I'll pick up another one. And I just like to work across my trays. Basically, all that needs to happen is there to be seed to soil contact here. So I have both trays of Snapdragon sown, so now I'll just go ahead and bottom water them. And I basically fill these watertight trays with about 1 inch of water and then let the cells wick up the water from below. And I never let these trays sit in standing water for an extended period of time. Once that I see the top of the soil is evenly moist, then I dump out any remaining water. So I usually give it about 10 minutes, and then whatever is left in the bottom trays, I just dump that water out. And then the next step is we'll get them on heat mats. So while we're waiting for these trays to drink up the water, I'll show you the heat mats that I used. Once again, not sponsored at all. I have nothing to do with these companies. This is just what I genuinely use. This is called, I think you say it, Vivo Sun, but basically you get 2 heat mats in a packet, and I think this cost me about $20, and it was well worth it. Because I use our radiators a lot for bottom heat, but sometimes it's just really nice to have a heat mat available. And especially once the summer hits, say even maybe April or May, we don't use the heat anymore, and so our radiators aren't running there. So I always have to use heat mats, at least with the tender annual plantings. So it's been about 7 minutes, and you can see that the top of these cells are evenly moist. So now I'll just dump out any remaining water from this tray. So where I am right now is in the addition of our house where I do all my seed starting. We have this big industrial sink, and then my husband just built me this table to put on top of it. Basically what I can do, because I do have a little bit of an opening here, is just dump it right here in the sink. And then I'll just put them back in. We'll put our humidity domes on. So I've got both of the trays on heat mats now. These heat mats will increase the temperature by about 10 to even 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Snapdragons take about a week to germinate, sometimes a little bit longer than that, maybe about 10 days. But once I see that I have 50% germination in the tray, I will remove the humidity dome for good. I'll take the tray off the heat mat, and I'll put the cells over here underneath my lights. I use fluorescent lights. These are T8 shop lights, 1 warm and 1 cool bulb in each light, and I keep these lights 2 inches away from the top of the seedlings at all times. But I have a full video on the lights I use, where I even just take you to the hardware store and we buy and set up a whole light together. And the last thing I do is I write in pen what I started that day. So when I first write my calendar, I write everything in pencil. So for instance, when I filled out my calendar for the year, yesterday I said, start cool flowers. Well, I just didn't get around to that. No problem, I start it today. So I write in pen something that I've actually done. If it's something I want to do or a reminder to do something, it goes in pencil. And if it's something that's physically done, I do it in the pen. So we started snaps, bridal, legend, light pink. Just ignore these things, guys. That's for my full-time job. And here's another example. If we take a look at March, my intent in pencil is to start my ranunculus on March 1st, to check on them on March 10th, and to plant them out on March 14th. But you know, sometimes things happen. For example, it looks like I have an article due on March 1st for a company. So maybe I don't get around to starting my ranunculus until over here, and then I would need to make adjustments. And that's where I feel like the pencil versus pen really helps out. And maybe really it would be better to use like a blue pen so you see the difference, but you know, if you're close up, you can see it. Well guys, thanks so much for spending some time with me today. Let me know if you're starting your Snapdragon soon and what kind of Snapdragons you're growing this year. And I think I'll just end this video with a little bit of footage from previous snaps that I've grown for some inspiration and some color this time of year. So I want to wish you a great day. Gracie, you want to wish them a great day? She's busy standing guard. Happy gardening. Bye.